Speaking of self-love, one of the most impactful lessons that I learned from this medicine, the medicine helped me realize that my worth is eternal. And that was a huge realization for me.
On Faces of Five, I speak with people about their 5-MeO DMT experiences working with me. Learn more at chadcharles.net. Moreno, hi.
Oh, hey.
So good to see you. Thank you so much for having the time and the will to have a conversation with me about, our many years of working together across many different sessions. Moreno, it's been since 2020, since our first session. And we can't go into all of the sessions here in this chat, but maybe if you could go back to 2020
Yeah.
and think back, what was happening for you at that time in your life that led you to have an initial session with 5-MeO DMT?
During that time, it was a lot of curiosity, a lot of practice. Everything felt new to me because at that time I was only about, I would say about 3 or 4 years into the whole like meditation and spirituality and just all the studies of personal development. So, yeah, that was like a super early start for me. I would say starting out and getting a good handle of my practice.
Right. Okay. So you came into it uh, wanting to expand on your spiritual self, maybe, and expand on your spiritual practices.
Yeah, and the thing is, I remember when I got introduced to the idea of it, of the medicine, I didn't know it was gonna happen so early. I thought I was gonna have to wait like many more years. And I thought it was gonna take longer. But once the opportunity came, I was just like, all right, let's do it. Yeah.
So you thought it would come to you years later. Is it because you didn't think you were ready or qualified, or what made you think that it came to you early?
Yeah, I didn't think, yeah, I think it's just that credibility. I didn't know what the qualification was and what it took to to take the medicine and um yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, 5 to 6 years later, when you look back at
Mhm.
you then, Moreno in 2020, would you say today that you were ready then?
Yeah, 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 100%. Or else I felt like the opportunity never would have presented itself, or I would have ran away from it.
Well, now that you've had multiple experiences, I believe over the years we've had about a dozen sessions. If somebody asked you, like, oh, maybe this is something that, I'd like to bring into my life. How should I prepare? How will I know if I'm ready? What would you say to that person?
There has to be a thirst for it,
Hmm.
and you have to be on the brink. Because the only reason why I even took it was because I was just open and yeah, I was just willing to give it all, because a lot of people they might not be ready to experience something like that and be open to something like that.
Hmm.
But I was ready for it all. I was ready for whatever would have showed up.
And a lot has showed up.
Yeah,
Am I right?
yeah, 1,000, yeah.
Would you say that even though, like you said, you were ready, it presented itself, you had a yes, would you nevertheless say that there was surprises, or did you somehow anticipate all that you've experienced over these years?
A lot of surprises and even the journey and what I expected from it, a lot of things just unraveled way different than what I would assume in my head or even what people would assume in their head.
Hmm.
And that could be, you could call it karma or bias or everyone's personal journey. But a lot of things did unravel um, in a way, no, I would say way better than I thought.
Hmm.
And yeah, I thought I would have to do certain things or be a certain way, or it would require me to like leave my interest or leave my path. But to me, it just amplified everything that I already am.
Beautiful. Nice.
Mhm.
Amplified. Yeah, that's a good word for it. I mean, along that path, so because there's been so many surprises,
Mhm.
so much material, so much that unraveled for
Mhm.
you. I had to go back and just kind of look through my notes, and there's like, wow, so many themes and topics and buzzwords and openings, closings, expansions, contractions. I don't know how your memory works. Well, I do know a little bit how your memory works, but I
Mhm.
won't reveal that here. I
Mhm.
thought I would just share with you a few things that I was going over my notes, just little like bullet form
Mhm.
things, and see like, is there anything that you would like to, I don't know, pick up on, right? I'll just
Mhm.
leave it up to you. But there's a few here, all right?
Mhm.
It's been many years, many sessions. So, in no particular order, okay? Parts, as in the parts of ourselves, spiritual bypassing, spiritual materialism,
Mhm.
and the pitfalls of awakening, optimizing, optimizing our practices, optimizing our life, our habits,
Mhm.
uncovering unconscious or forgotten events of
Mhm.
our lifetime, and
Mhm.
and sometimes the grief that comes from experiencing those. Communication and boundaries, loving oneself. Look at, we're laughing. Yeah, the
Yeah.
memories are coming, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Loving yourself, breathing, conscious breathing, sexual energy and sexual expression,
1,000. Yep.
non-duality. I mean, of course.
That was huge.
Yeah. And yeah, I wrote also just the hook of growth and self-improvement, personal development, that kind of thing. So anyway, I'll stop there. Many of them had you smiling, a little chuckle.
Yeah.
Where would you like to go?
I want to cover the materialism
Hmm.
and the spiritual materialism
Sure.
first. And I don't know where to start with that, but for me with that, the thing is, I feel like when it comes down to this work, to summarize it all, I would say it comes down to action, but I mean action in the sense of the actual practice, like really dedicating your life to the practice.
Hmm.
Um, that's like a really important thing for me. And also coming to our own conclusions and our own ideas. That's like the I feel like that's the main point of everything, of like all these teachings and everything. So I feel like that's the most important part because I mean, like we could talk about these ideas all day and we could talk about all these different concepts, but we're going for the experience at the end of the day, right? And we're going for that state of being. So I feel like, yeah, just action and coming to our own conclusions. That's the basis of like all this work.
Okay. If I could kind of summarize and just make sure that I'm on the same page as you.
Hmm.
So, spiritual materialism
Yeah.
and bypassing, I suppose, kind of, in a similar frame, coming to one's own conclusion. I guess what I hear in that is like, we learn lots of things from
Hmm.
different traditions and lineages and paradigms and frameworks, and there's probably truth to it all, and they're probably all pointing towards the truth, I suppose. And yet, coming into your own truth, is that what you mean by coming to
Yeah.
your own conclusions?
Yeah. And one more thing to add, the thing is, I understand there's a bunch of different schools, different techniques, and I know there's different levels of development, and people are at different levels of development, and certain techniques aren't for everybody. But I do feel like the second you're hiding your technique because you don't want anybody to know, or you're hiding your lineage or your practice or whatever sacred information you have, that's the moment you're caught in the materialism
Ah,
of
when
it,
you're hiding it.
when you're hiding it, and
Okay.
you feel like, yeah, like no one. But there's a balance, because I see a lot of wise people, they say never put pearl before swine. They're always talking about that, and they're always talking about how certain practices are for different parts of people's journeys, which I understand. But yeah, there's also that balance. So if you're hiding it, the materialism got you, man.
Hmm. Got it. Okay. Well, perhaps in just kind of zooming out and allowing the listeners or viewers here tuning in, if they haven't figured out already, you have been, as you introduced yourself, a few years prior to having your first five experience, a real, I would say, a devotee. So
Mhm.
very adept at mastering different spiritual practices, but
Mhm.
also really, and I think why spiritual materialism came up, I think it was probably in our early years together, was that there was a lot, like almost like this accumulation
Mhm.
of, and then, wow, the how to synthesize them all in a way that, well, just makes sense to you. How did five experiences support that for you to find your truth?
Um, do you mean truth in general or like technique?
No, your truth.
Oh, truth in general?
Well, I don't know if I'm talking about general because general truth isn't necessarily mine.
No,
Your
yeah.
truth is not his, is not hers.
Hmm.
That's general.
Yeah.
But I think
My
when
own
you said
personal?
when you draw your own conclusions,
Hmm.
what I got was you're finding your own way
Hmm.
despite having exposed yourself to this multitude of ways. Yeah. How
Yeah.
did five support that?
I guess it gave me clarity, and I think just the experience feeling that release through the medicine.
Hmm.
I feel like it just opened my mind, and also like opened, I guess you could say, my spirit as well.
Hmm.
And I think when those things are open over time, um, you have answers, and the deeper you go, and the more you release, and the more you clear all that shadow and all that trauma and all that stored material in our body and in our psyches, the better we could see, and the more clarity we have. Yeah.
Yeah, well said. Well, I mean, some of this list, that I took note of definitely speaks to a lot of that shadow material, just meaning the stuff we don't see,
Hmm.
right? And then, when you said something about, oh yeah, action, I also took it to mean, and tell me if this is a tangent or if I'm on point here, but also just putting into action the things that are revealed, the things that are learned, the things that are cleared, right? Applying yourself, employing action as a result of some of these pretty profound experiences, right? Does that
Hmm.
fit too, the action part of like putting things into action?
1000%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, putting it into action, and yeah, also taking action in our life, because I feel like that's also another trap, because we have the realization, and because we reach a new state of consciousness, we assume, or some people might assume, that everything is just going to work itself out
Mm.
for us in the 3D.
Mm.
But yeah, the 3D is the 3D, so it requires 3D action.
3D action. Yeah. Well, I can attest to how I've known you and gotten to know you over the years is that there's this studious one in you. You're a student, but also you really apply what you learn. And a part of our relationship, tell me if this fits for you,
Hmm.
has been coming up with, kind of in a creative way, coming up with, okay, what's next? After this, uh, how do I take that and how does the rubber hit the road?
Hmm.
It's like, okay, I had this experience now, what do I do, so to
Hmm.
speak? And we've done a lot of that. What stands out to you over the years of new action, like kind of like an action item
Hmm.
that was really supportive for you after a particular session, or maybe one that is consistent and is still there for you from a session even years ago?
Hmm. Um, I would say just after this session, us talking about it, I feel like I feel like my intuition would always tell me what to do next, and I would always get signs on like
Hmm.
what to do next. Yeah, just like signs from the universe or even just following my intuition. There would always be some practical action to take just naturally. And if I feel like that's the magic behind this work too, because when I made the internal shift, the universe would like present me with actions to take,
Hmm.
and the medicine would give me the awareness to like see what I should do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can you give us just an anecdote, one example, whether it be a recent one or from, a handful of years ago? Take your
Mm.
pick.
Let me think. I'm gonna simplify it to the simplest degree. Let's say it would be for something artistic, right? Because I'm an artist. And let's say I needed to buy like a new equipment or I needed to um, learn from somebody new or I need to meet like a new mentor or buy a new book. Um, I feel like what would happen is I would get presented a way to make money to buy whatever I needed to buy
Hmm.
in the simplest terms.
Huh.
Yeah. Like someone be like, hey, you want to work here tonight? And then after I'm like, sure. And then I go there and I make $500 out of nowhere. You
Uh-huh.
know what I mean? And yeah, just like situations like that. I had like countless situations of things happening to me like that.
I get why you use the word magic.
Yeah, yeah.
So, out of these other elements that I talked, I mean, loving yourself, uncovering unconscious events, communication and boundaries, self improvement, anything else that you want to pick up on?
Communication, boundaries, self-love. Oh, speaking of self-love, I feel like one of the most impactful lessons that I learned from this medicine is for a while, I feel like, or at least in my story of my life, because I feel like that's part of life. Like you're gonna keep getting hit with the same lessons over and over again, year after year after year, until you get it, right? And I feel like life is just gonna hit you with the same thing in different ways. One year it's gonna look like this, the next year it's gonna come back looking like it's gonna be the same situation and like slightly different till you catch it, right? So for me, with self-love was I realized, and the medicine helped me realize that my worth is eternal. And that was a huge realization for me.
Yeah, that's huge. What, I mean, did that heal something in particular for you? Did that pave the way for something in specific after that moment for you? Were there some tangible, particular element from that, like you call it, an internal shift?
I would say over time it was more like a knowing, like me just knowing that my worth is eternal. And yeah, I would say to knowing because um, I feel like that's part of it, part of us embodying our higher self is us embodying that frequency. So yeah, realizing my worth is eternal was a big step towards that.
Yeah. But nothing practical or tangible out of it. If
Yeah,
that was a new internal shift, for example,
yeah.
surely it had a outward facing reverberation in your life,
hmm
right?
hmm
What did it change?
Oh, okay. Just I would say just feeling more confident,
Hmm.
more charismatic, more self-belief, more conviction, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. More alignment, um, better
I know
intuition. Yeah.
I can say that I know that in you, that
hmm
you present in a way that you're comfortable, more than comfortable in your skin.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
conviction, like you
hmm
said, yeah, it can be
Yeah.
felt. And no doubt it's a part of how the universe, as you put it, opens up to you.
hmm
Yeah. It's like how I've gotten to know you over the years is I'll just sum it up in like, you know you and you're okay with you.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smile
That's
there.
how.
That's a good.
Yeah. And the medicine definitely helped me with that too.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's more, never ending.
So, I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, this has been a part of your world for the last 5, 6 years, these
hmm
sessions. And like you just said, there's probably more. More what? What continues to surprise you, or what continues to um, just obviously bring value to your life?
Mm. Um, I would say the best way to describe it is there's more states of consciousness, there's higher states of consciousness,
Hmm.
and embodying that more.
Awesome. What's the next frontier for you? What are you kind of imagining that's just beyond the horizon of what
Mm.
you're aware of?
Yeah.
Yeah, whether it be something and particular about your life and what you're living,
Mhm.
whether it be about something exploratory or kind of conceptual. What's next for you? What do you imagine is at the frontier of your evolution?
I feel like right now I'm in a process of, I guess you call it like stabilization or like just stabilizing this frequency and this identity that I've developed through the years of enlightenment and personal development. Because this summer it's gonna be 9 years, and then a year from then it's gonna be a decade. So yeah, it's been a very long horizon, and it's been a journey.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like the next step is just stabilizing this new frequency and
Hmm.
yeah, embodying it fully.
And if I think back over the years, it hasn't always been stable, right? There's these
Mhm,
periods of what seems to be, I don't know, accelerated growth, right? Fast expansion,
mhm.
change. And then there's been periods of contraction, just like, ooh, kind of clamping down. And so right now, stabilization sounds like maybe it's something in between those two.
Yeah, stabilizing this new frequency and um,
Does that feel calm? Like I can imagine if it's not
mhm.
expanding and not contracting, maybe it's kind of there's an element of tranquility there.
Yeah, it feels like it's just a matter of just more reps. It's just maintaining that this new identity, but just boring reps, just doing it over and over again. Nothing fancy, no crazy new knowledge, no crazy insight, just repetition
Uh-huh.
over and over again. And yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, I get it. You mentioned new identity. So I'm taking it to mean that who you understand yourself to be today is a
hmm
lot different than back when I first saw you in 2020.
hmm
Um, just how would you summarize, if you can,
hmm
who? you understand yourself to be today compared to who you understood yourself to be in 2020?
2020, I was confused. I couldn't understand exactly. I didn't know who I was. Okay, the best way to describe it is I feel like oftentimes when people become people, they're just like a product of their environment, right? So they never get a chance to break down or understand the person they're embodying or the person they're being. So in 2020, I was a result of my environment and who I was, but I didn't know the mechanics. Like I didn't know how I got there, right? So from 2020 up until now, I started really understanding how I became that person and what happened and what led to what and what was holding me back. And yeah, my strengths, weaknesses,
Hmm.
etc.
Yeah, I get that. And I know that. I know
Hmm.
that from, yeah, accompanying you on some pretty important journeys. One that comes to mind, and I think it speaks directly to this, and without necessarily going into detail, it's not really about that, but there was a moment where something came to the surface of your awareness, right? Something came as a memory that it was like amnesia, right? There was an
Hmm.
amnesiac quality to a certain time or period in your life. And then it kind of became apparent, it became visible. And so, as you just said, you didn't know necessarily the mechanics or all the details of how and why you were who you were.
Hmm.
And sometimes that happens because we literally, it's shut out of our access. We don't have access to it. We lived it. And yet sometimes we don't have access to it. And so in a moment, in a very important moment, if I may, you had access to something that you lived that you didn't know about. And it had an impact. How did you make
Hmm.
sense of that? How did you kind of grapple with learning about something that was a part of you, but you didn't cognitively
Hmm.
know?
Hmm. Um, it took time.
Hmm.
It took, I had to also learn outside of myself. And I definitely took a lot of mentorship, a lot of learning, a lot of action. Because the funny thing about our subconscious mind and trauma is it only takes one negative experience, when we were a kid to completely transform our entire identity for the rest of our life. It just takes one negative experience. So I had to start reframing it and I had to start creating new reference experiences um, to counteract what happened in the past and that trauma that I experienced. And in the last 2 years, especially in the last year, I've been finding a lot of self concept work and manifestation work and a lot of visualization has been helping me reprogram my subconscious mind.
Well said. Thanks for sharing that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Would you say that your experiences with five have been a part of that, let's say, network or pathway of correcting, or pardon me, of offering you, I think you called like new points of reference, or sometimes we might say in therapy speak, corrective experiences?
1,000. And if it wasn't for five, but there's a lot of things that helped me, but no, 5 meal for sure was like a main driver. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the only tool in your toolbox. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot of resources that you have available to you, and you make use of them.
Mhm.
And five has been one of them.
Number one for sure, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your experience. It's hard to encapsulate all in a short conversation,
Hmm.
and yet there's these little nuggets that stand out. I'm curious, if you were to, you know, offer some words of wisdom
Hmm.
to someone who is, yeah, starting their spiritual life, who are
Mhm.
starting to consciously evolve. What's some words that you would have for that person, young or old?
I would say know what you want, but at the start of your journey, you don't really know what you want, but I would say know what you want as soon as
Hmm.
possible because there's a lot of different paths in this work. So I'd
Mm.
say it's important to clarify what you want.
Huh. Yeah. So clarifying desires and intentions, I guess. Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Moreno, I look forward to more with
Hmm.
you. Thanks for sharing all that has been for you in your story with five, amongst all of the other things that you bring into your life that have altered in a big way who you know yourself to be. It's been an honor to accompany you on many journeys, and I know there'll be more.
Likewise, Shad. I appreciate everything.
Blessings. Bye.